I wonder your thoughts on this attempt by a U.S. senator to try to gain access to the prison, not allowed, as a Republican member of Congress, in fact, was only days earlier. What does that tell us about the situation involving Mr. Abrego Garcia?
Yeah, truly, this is completely unprecedented. I mean, it's certainly not the first time that the United States has mistakenly or erroneously imprisoned individuals. We saw this during the Japanese internment era. But now we have the United States shipping these individuals outside of the country. And, you know, there's a lot of international laws, constitutional laws, and due process that come into play and into what is happening, and especially in this case. And it raises a lot of questions as to where we're going as a country, you know, and how can the one branch of the government, the executive branch in this case, act in this manner without having the checks and balances that our system has, you know, so it's very, very concerning.
The Attorney General yesterday released details from a police report from Prince George's County, Maryland. They call it the Gang Field Interview Sheet, and it includes a number of individuals who were arrested on what was the 28th of March in 2019. One of them is Mr. Abrego Garcia. He is listed as an active member of MS-13. His nickname and rank are both included here. They refer to the clothing that he was wearing and say in no uncertain terms, he's listed, identified as a member active MS-13. This is part of the evidence that the administration is putting forth to suggest that a gang member was, in fact, deported from this country. What's your reaction to this, knowing that he was not convicted?
True. And that is the point. You know, this is one piece of document that the government introduced back in 2018, 2019, when these proceedings were going on for Mr. Abrego Garcia. And it was, in fact, the Trump administration that evaluated this document and gave it some weight and then allowed this individual to remain in the country nonetheless with the protections that our, you know, immigration laws and our Constitution provide. So to bring this back up and to go back on something that's already been analyzed, it's already been presented, you know, it's ridiculous, I would say. You know, the government had already allowed him to stay here, and now they kidnapped him and decided, oh, we're going to use this document from the past and just take you away without giving you an opportunity to then challenge it, because we now have changed our position. That's completely erroneous, illegal, and unconstitutionally, you know, not sound.
I want to ask you about this Fourth Circuit ruling we were talking about before you joined us. A federal appeals court, or a federal court today, I should say, denied the administration's effort here to appeal an order mandating that their officials be deposed in this case. The writing is unprecedented. This is part of the ruling. It is difficult in some cases to get to the very heart of the matter, but in this case, it is not hard at all. The three-judge panel continues to write. The government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. Get to the essence of due process, because we're hearing from a lot of people who are questioning why someone who is not a citizen of this country should enjoy the same rights as you and I. Right.
And the constitutional provides that right, provides that freedom to all persons. The Constitution says all persons are entitled to these protections. And so Mr. Abrego Garcia is subject to these protections. Now, U.S. citizens are also subject to these protections, and they enjoy all the benefits. Now, those who are not U.S. citizens have limitations to these protections. And what are the limitations? Immigration laws. So here, this individual, Mr. Abrego Garcia, and an individual who is going to be alleged of having committed any crimes or any issues with immigration laws, have those protections, and the government needs to allow them to defend themselves, to present contrary evidence and allow this due process so they can defend themselves within the laws of the United States and within the immigration laws. And this is what's not happening, and this is what's concerning, because then how far is this going to go? I mean, President Trump was heard in the Oval Office already talking about, you know, sending U.S. citizens to foreign prisons as well, you know, so where does this end, you know, and this is just the beginning, and the administration is testing the waters as to see how far they can go.
Well, so what do you think is motivating the administration in this case? I started by asking you about the fact that a sitting Democratic U.S. senator was not admitted to the prison in El Salvador, but a Republican member of the House was. Is this just politics?
That is the question. Is it just politics, And the optics certainly point to that, But this administration is pushing the limits of what the executive branch can do. And we have to remember, under the founders of our country and our Constitution, we have three branches of government. We have checks and balances. And this administration is being adamant about pushing what the executive branch has been ignoring court orders, the judiciary branch ordering them to do something. And we're now also seeing the legislative branch involved in what are they able to do or not to do, and does that depend on the favor of the current administration or not? And that's exactly what we're seeing.
I'm sure you saw a video caught in New Bedford, Massachusetts earlier this week. ICE agents breaking a window to try to get to somebody in their car to make an arrest. ICE says its agents appropriately detained a man you see here they were trying to gain access to. We know that, of course, there was another incident unrelated, that a Tufts University student was taken off the street by masked, unmarked, ununiformed officers. And I could keep going with examples like this. They've had the corrosive effect. This is the Tufts University student being approached by the officers, if you're with us on Bloomberg TV or on YouTube. The corrosive effect of these videos, making it pretty remarkable here to listen to that. Annaluisa, making it difficult for many immigrants in this country to live their lives without fear. What is the impact this is having?
That is precisely the impact. I mean, fear and chaos in the communities. Again, we're talking about communities where we all live, not just immigrants. So this affects everybody in the United States, not just immigrants. And what is the fear? You can have anybody on the street come and knock on your car, on your door, and break the window just because you look different from what that community is supposed to look like. And what does that mean? What does it mean that look different? Brown, black, what does that mean? And just on that basis, these individuals are going to be, law enforcement claiming, are going to be able to break the window in your car without probable cause, without really anything to really effectuate what's going on here. I mean, citizens are going to be scared, This is just uncalled for.